Hello, everybody. You are now listening to the Overflow Podcast with Jae and Joaquin.
Yo, what's up? You know, they say third time's the charm. As always, this is Joaquin.
And I'm Jae.
And we are so glad that you joined us here for this week's episode. Whoever is out there listening, we welcome you. And I say third time's the charm because we had to start this thing like 3 times because I've lost my mind. But that's normal. Anywho, we got a lot of stuff going on this. We got a lot of stuff we want to cover. Some sad, some hype. But before we do that,
Some cool.
Cool. Before that, yo, Jay, how was your Easter?
It's good. It was good. We went to Nashville for Easter, like a last minute Easter / see you later type move
to Junior because he's
Junior.
off to the Norwegian airline
cruise line.
That was some line.
Yeah, he flew to Seattle today.
Oh, okay.
So
That's why he was asking if anybody knew where you could get good pizza in Seattle.
right. Which
I rolled
nowhere.
And I rolled my eyes almost popped out my head because you know how I am about pizza and New Yorkers. I had a conversation earlier this week.
Yeah, dude, but it doesn't matter.
Why not? I love to pick fights.
There's no good pizza anywhere in Seattle. Like no New York, no Jersey, no Chicago, no nothing.
It's all gluten free.
Right? That makes it worse, right? But he's gonna be playing drums for a cover band
For the next 6 months.
The next 6 months, and
Nice.
he'll be based out of Nashville, based out of Seattle, right? So they're setting him up, all of them, setting them up in Seattle, and they'll be porting out of Seattle. So that's
nice. Yeah,
That's
it'll
cool. So
be a good experience.
cool, dude. He's going to Alaska,
Right.
right? He's going to Mexico, of course, the Caribbean, because what cruise ship doesn't go to the Caribbean?
Well, listen, I hope you told them.
Panama,
when you go to Mexico-
and the Panama Canal, like it's. Yeah,
I hope
pretty
I
dope.
hope you told him not to lose his head when he went to Mexico.
Lose his head.
Lose his head because people get their heads chopped off in Mexico with the
Nah,
cartels.
Not where he's going.
I forget which one of the I remember reading one of the vacation, like one of the kind of the vacation hotspot places was having issues with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like they were telling people don't go off, like don't go out of
Don't go out of the protected
out
area.
of the reservation, as it were. I don't know what the resort,
Right.
the reservation.
Because remember, like when we went to the Bahamas, there's they tell us also like don't go into the city. Just
Did they
stay.
tell us that?
Yeah, they did.
I don't listen.
Yeah, of course we don't. They told us. Yeah,
I'm a white guy. I'm a whiter Rican.
like don't go out into Bahama, whatever they called it.
Oh, we
Like,
were there.
Stay in the.
We were rocking it.
Stay in the
If anything,
enclosed area.
If anything, I think the Bahamians
in the tourist area.
or the Bahamanians were scared of us because they were kind of like, wait a minute, these dudes.
Now remember, they would give me the what's up, and they would give you the dirty looks. Remember that?
Yeah, I got you, son. You don't know me.
Right. So, but no, I mean, had we not done that, we wouldn't have had.
Oh, we had a great
as
experience.
awesome of an experience that we had. That we had.
Yeah,
So
it was dope. But all right, cool. So you went to Nashville for Easter. Did you get to visit with anybody while you were out there, or just Junior? You see Christina?
no, we saw Christina. Christina came by. She says, "What's up?" By the way.
Oh, what's up?
Christina came to. I want to say. No, yeah, she came to the house. We hung out.
All right, dope.
We hung out.
And you go to church at Junior's church?
We did go to Junior's church, and it's so funny to me how sometimes I'm surprised by people, right? Because we've only been there once before for Thanksgiving,
Right.
and when we showed up yesterday, like everybody like remembered us,
Yeah.
right? It was cool, and it wasn't just oh wait, you guys look familiar, like Jay,
Right.
I thought you guys are back. Oh man, long time.
What?
Like, when did you get here? Right? It was literally, when did you get here? We got here yesterday afternoon. Why didn't we know? Like, we had like a party last night. You guys could have been
what
there.
you didn't see was they were doing like this, looking at their phone, like a director. You go, hey Jay.
And then the OP, I call him the OP, the original pastor. He was impressive. Like, cause I'm walking with Bean to take him to the bathroom, and he grabs me. He was like, Jay, I didn't know you were here. How long you been here? He stands up. It's like in the middle of service. I'm trying to sneak out.
Right.
And he stands up and he gives me like the greatest hug. Hey. And then after the service, he's like, every time I see Junior, I ask for you. Like, I ask how you're doing, like what to give me updates in ministry. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure he hasn't told you anything, right? Because he doesn't stay
updated with me.
He doesn't stay updated as far as like all the ministry.
Yeah,
stuff
well,
is
that's
concerned.
with that thing though. What that is that they're establishing a good church culture, right?
Yeah.
Where they're trying to make sure they're connecting with people, which is that's what the one thing, that's the impressive thing about like Pastor Ashley, right, over at Influencers.
Yeah.
Yo, that dude didn't see me for like months, and then I walk in, he's like, Joaquin, how you doing? And I'm just like, what the heck, man? How do you know my name?
We went to Influencers Kennesaw, and he remembered us, and I'm like,
and I'm looking at my shirt, like, do I got my name? Do I got my name on my shirt?
In my mind, I'm like, yeah, I can see why he would remember you. Like, you actually went there. I only visited there like twice.
Right. Yeah. So, that's a good culture thing.
And plus also it's that, remember, it's a merged church, right? So the old pastor's still there, and the old members are still there.
Right.
So, that's a lot of like that old school, we're going to be real intentional about being relational and all that. So it's almost like they're teaching them.
Right. Well, that's dope. That's dope.
It's cool.
I mean,
it's cool.
And then I didn't get to go this week, but we want to give a shout out to Alejandro and Laura, she might be listening. She might listen to this episode.
Pastor
Calderon and Pastora Laura.
Pastor Calde and Pastora Laura.
The churches that they meet on Saturdays. They told me I didn't get a chance to go Saturday for Easter. I wanted to go, but our family ended up doing Easter on Saturday because the girls weren't going to be able to come up Sunday, and but they said like 100 people showed up. Some folks gave their lives to Christ. Real excited, and it's just it's just one of those things where it's small, but I think they're really kind of building a small dedicated group. I got a feeling that they want me to be part of that small dedicated group. I don't think they realize that.
Without even
I fight it, right?
Without even talking to them,
I
know that they do. And you should stop fighting.
I'm not gonna do it.
And join that community.
I'm an Americano, right? So that's all there is to
you're
it.
a White Rican.
I'm a White Rican.
You should join it. I mean, you've been that grew out of the group that you're a part of.
That still meets. And matter of fact, they're starting a second group. So the original group meets every other week, right? So we met last Friday. So we won't meet this Friday. We'll meet the following Friday. So now on this coming Friday, they're starting a new group.
It's gonna be the other Friday. They're gonna call it the other Friday.
The other Friday group. And so now every Friday there'll be a Spanish group. And
every now and then you put both groups together and have like a cookout.
Right. So I'll so I got a feeling that because the problem that I have with the Spanish group, here's the problem. They won't let me just be silent.
You suck.
Right? Like I used to just be able to sit in the back. Now if I sit in the back, Alejandro's like, no, Joaquin. Quinito, as they call me, right? Quinito, come here. I got my own seat.
Hold on. I'm gonna text Calde.
I got my own seat in the middle of the group.
I'm gonna text Calde. I'm gonna tell him.
But yeah, man, but it's exciting stuff that's happening with our Spanish people.
That's dope because I've known Calde for a long time.
Yeah, and what's funny is that I forget me and Laura were talking about something on Friday, and she goes, I said, oye, pastora. She goes, ajá, yo soy tu pastora. What's that?
Sométete.
Sométete. I'm like, what? I can submit to you.
You see that?
I'm like, I can submit to you. And she's like, I'm your pastora.
She got you back.
Which is great. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, man, but influencers, influencers does Easter real big, right? So they had like a
right.
The
helicopter egg drop again.
No, they did not. They had the Easter egg hunt. They had a petting zoo.
Nice.
They had some food trucks. They had like a pizza truck and like a snow cones and do some like hot dogs.
Because it was hot yesterday.
Sunday, it was nice, man. It was a nice Sunday.
Saturday, not so much. It was cold on Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday was like chilly.
And then Sunday was nice.
But yeah, man. But it was dope. I think if I remember right, Laura told me that Ale told me that on the second so they did first service, then they had the activities for the first service people, then you had second service activities. Second service activity group, I think they said 50 people came to Christ. I don't know if it was 50 second or if maybe it was 50 total.
Sunday, okay.
Sunday for Easter, which is dope. I'm gonna tell you what, man. There's some kind of dope stuff going on up there. The church my parents go to, and I don't know I think I've mentioned this before. I can't remember. I think I've told you. But the church they're going to, they're doing this huge emphasis on men, on reaching men. And so, so they'll do like the wild game dinners, and they'll do man church, and they'll do like all this huge emphasis on reaching men.
That's interesting. Normally, the men are forgotten.
Well, that's why they're doing it, because the underlying idea is what? If the man of the house, right? If the husband or the boyfriend or whatever, he comes to know and love God, and he goes to church, right? His family's going to come with him, right. Whereas the model that we've seen the last 30 years has been the woman goes to church, she drags the kids to church. And then the husband...
And drags the husband on holidays.
And drags the husband on Christmas and Easter, right? So it's like the old way has, right, and we've talked about this, right? The church, a lot of churches cater to women, right? It's a very feminine church culture.
Women, because even like the kids ministry, it's still women.
Right, because it's like mom.
And the moms.
And so what have we seen, right? That men aren't going to church. So you go to church and you get all these women.
Somebody else is ignoring that.
So they've really been, and dude, I think my mom said like a couple of weeks back they baptized like 30 men, like 30 people or 40 people. Like
what church is this?
I can never remember the name of their church, but I think she said over the last month they've baptized like 90 people or something like that. Like people coming to God. Matter of fact, they're so dedicated. Are you ready for this? My dad was mad, which I laughed because I was like, why are you mad? It's like you're not doing nothing. So they canceled the women's Bible study because there was no growth going on there. And they were like, we want to put those resources to what we're aiming for. They canceled the Spanish church. They had a Spanish congregation. They closed it down because there was no growth. There was no they've had no growth in there. They've had the same 30 people. Yeah. So they're like, we're going to take those resources and put them somewhere else.
Nice.
And my dad was mad, right? Because they canceled the Spanish group and it's not right and blah 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 blah.
It's not growing.
And it's like it's not growing. And the pastor, my parents have given the pastor Jay Soto and his wife, they're new in town. You should go visit them. It doesn't go visit them, right? It doesn't reach out to them. Doesn't do anything. So I think it's great, man. I think it's awesome that this, that this church is doing that, right? They're just focusing on, hey, let's reach the men.
Nice. That's super dope.
Let's reach the men because
they're gonna have a Wild at Heart series.
Yeah, right. Because they don't. Right. Listen, right? Men, high suicide rates. There's a lot of stuff going on with the guys.
High depression rates.
High depression. I was just watching something the other day. They were talking about that men, middle-aged men, suffer from loneliness.
Yeah.
because they don't have any friends. They don't have any like our kind of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have those.
Yeah,
they're solid. Like and I was thinking like my dad's like that, right? My dad doesn't have anybody that he can go.
Yeah, you say that now, and I think about my older brother. He was hitting me up. Well, I have a group text with Joey and Joe, and Joe was hitting us up in the group text, talking about like all these statistics about the U.S. and like like the median yearly salary is like in the low 30s a year, right? And I'm like, well, I guess I'm over median. Woo-hoo!
Right. I'm above average.
Right? Yay, finally, right? But then he started talking all this about, we should all move to Europe. Oh, let's go backpacking, you know? And I'm like,
what?
And I'm like, dude,
I got kids.
I've got
little kids.
I've got a wife and babies. Like, what are you talking about? And then Joey is like, I'm too old for that, right? But I'm like, I'm thinking, because I'm talking to Magda about it, and I'm thinking like, yo, like he's up there in New York, and yeah, I mean, New York, like you can meet anybody anytime, but like he just bought his apartment. It's a 1-bedroom, right? He just bought his apartment and stuff like that. But I like he's single, right? And that's what Magda and I were talking about. Like, you know, like I'm pretty sure he's that way because like he's lonely. He's got no one to share his life with, like no girl. Like him and I, we've gotten super close since I've gotten older. Right. Right. But I'm in Atlanta. Right. So we joke on the phone or through text message or whatever.
Right, but you can't go. You can't go like, "Hey Joe, let's meet up at this diner on what and such, and let's get breakfast, or let's go see this movie."
And we have
whatever.
like these conversations over the phone or over text, right? Like dope conversations. But it's like you said, like it's like, "Yo, Joe, like everybody's asleep. Like let's go to Marietta Diner and like get a steak."
Right. Let's go eat Chinese food at 3 a.m. Too. That was a big deal for him.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was like we wouldn't do Chinese food, but we would do either White Castles or pizza.
Right. Well, no, I just remember.
I remember that
whole fight. Well, not fight, but
I remember that. But I'm saying, like,
White Castle.
It wasn't. I'm in. Like
done. Let's go.
Like
road trip.
Like we've done that. We've done the 3 a.m. food runs. Right. Not Chinese food. I don't know why he said Chinese food, but it was usually like White Castles in Lynbrook. I can tell you cities now because the White Castles in Lynbrook.
I used to stop there.
Right. Or we go to Geno's. Right. We go to pizza.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, yo, like, dude, like you need to. I'm like, yo, I really wish you would move down here. Like, so get rid of that apartment. Or put it up on
New York's
Airbnb.
about to be empty anyway.
I moved down here because then.
Yeah,
but we'd be able to do or share.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, there's like men. There's a lot of guys that don't have an intimacy with another man as a friendship, right? Not a weird thing, but as a just close friends where they can
not talking any
like weird nonsense. Yeah, no,
but about like a deep. Like a deep friendship.
Like a Jonathan David friendship.
Yeah, I was about to say that too.
You know, a deep friendship where you can have someone you can share your whatever you might be struggling with or whatever victories
and not only that, but
it's important.
But having I feel like our podcast.
Yeah,
our podcast topic is gonna be lost.
It's gonna be lost,
right?
Dude.
But men having intimate relationships, it's very important on many levels, right? Because it helps with accountability.
Yes.
Right. It helps with growth.
Yeah.
Right. It helps. It helps with keeping fathers from strangling or beating their kids.
Oh, and it helps with keeping fathers around.
And not only that, but it also helps with marriages.
Yeah.
Right. It also helps with marriages. Like, for all the men out there that cheat or that have cheated, right? Having another man that you have an intimate relationship with, intimate
friendship. Let's say intimate friendship.
Right,
that
intimate
sounds better.
Friendship, right?
That sounds better.
An intimate friendship where you can share your hurts, your pains, right, without
why Linda is driving you crazy,
right? Yeah, exactly, right. Listen, Linda.
Listen,
right? If it's an intimate friendship with another man that is also a man of God, right? Who's not going to be like, yo, Forget your wife
Yeah,
right now.
forget her.
That chick is driving you crazy. Let's go to the club.
Yeah.
Or let's go have a few beers. And
Let's hit up the Applebee's.
Yo, you see that? The Applebee's is gonna get stabbed. You'll get shot.
It's only in New York.
But I'm saying though, like I'm
Here in
saying,
Georgia too.
right?
Hey, pretty much any Applebee's.
Right? So I'm saying like, where it's a man of God that's
Right.
not going to be like, yo, you can
Right.
forget your crazy wife by, let me introduce you to this other chick, right?
To Susan.
Right? And
Yeah.
instead of that, somebody who's going to be like, well, scripture, let's pray together or whatever.
Right.
Or just, not to make things too holy, but like listen to you vent about
Right.
your crazy wife and the whatever happened, and
Right.
then but you're able to like release it and it stays there.
Right. That never happens like that.
Right. So I mean,
Yeah, so-
it's important on many facets.
So
right?
that's why. So to bring it back to this church is really focusing on that, which is I think is very, 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 very,
I think
very
that's
dope.
a good podcast topic to have.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to revisit that. But so so we had Easter, or as a you don't celebrate Easter, you celebrate Resurrection Day. I was gonna say so. Easter, Resurrection Day. They will. It's a day we do recognize, right? Christ coming out the grave, going, death can't hold me back. Woohoo! And in light of that, this Sunday in Sri Lanka, there was a massacre. Right? I guess is how it's
It's horrible.
for lack of better words to use. But so in Sri Lanka, there was multiple bombs in multiple churches and hotels. So 3 different churches in different cities, killing hundreds and injuring even more. I think it was over 150 dead. I think is what I saw.
No, the last I saw was
Or is it 200?
was over 200.
200 dead, but it was 500 injured.
Right.
And now this is with the churches and the hotels. But so we always we want to point this out because we want to remember our brethren, right? Our brothers and sisters, our fellow believers. And these were Catholic churches. So we want to remember them in prayer for what happened. The Christians are a minority in Sri Lanka, and they already face some persecution.
A lot of persecution.
So, we want to remember them because it's something that here in the podcast that we're always pointing out these things, but it is a statistical fact that Christians are the most persecuted people in the world. According to Open Doors World Watch list, Open Doors World Watch on their list, the number of Christians killed for faith related has increased almost fourfold the past 6 years, from 1,201 in 2012 to 4,136 in 2018.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Right, so. And this is, like in, all over the world, in the Middle East and in Asia and Africa. So, let's always remember that let's keep things in perspective, Christians in the West and Christians, here in America, that when we feel, oh no, I'm being persecuted, let's try to have perspective, knowing that we have fellow believers in. Remember a couple years ago, the Coptic Christians in Egypt on Easter. There was the Christians in Pakistan
and Good Friday.
The Christians in Pakistan that were getting together for Easter, and they got attacked. So let's remember to pray for those that are being persecuted overseas, those that are being persecuted for their faith, for those that have to sneak Bibles in just to be able to have the Word of God, and sometimes it's just pages. So we wanted to bring that. We'll have an article with some of that information on there, and we encourage you to go read it and just pass around, talk about it, talk about the fact that we have fellow believers that are risking their lives just for believing in Jesus. So a couple of things. All right, so now we're going to switch to kind of more upbeat things. Number one, there's we're gonna. All right, so the first thing we'll talk about is the song for the week is a group called Trinity. A song called Anthem of Love. What you think of it, Jay?
I thought it was dope. It was so funny. It's not the normal type of song that we would showcase on the podcast, right? But
it's a song that I would like just because of how musically I am.
But it's a cool song.
Yeah, it's got a little. The verses are in Spanish, and the chorus is in English. It's got like this folksy, right, kind of musical vibe to it. So there's a short video. So check it out on the website. I think you'll like. I think you'll like it. It's a group called Trinity. The group is called Trinity. Anthem of Love is the name of the song. Now, a couple of things. So Gotham season ends this freaking Thursday.
No.
And Jay's a couple episodes behind. I'm caught up. Last week's episode.
Thursday, I really need to catch up.
Last week's episode was dope. This week, they're doing a flash forward. We're gonna get to see Batman on TV as Batman, not murderous Titans Batman.
For the first time
since Adam West.
Right.
So a live action Batman. So that is super exciting. So Gotham, and then so the Gotham final trailer dropped, and also the trailer for Krypton, which is a series that Jay got into. Gee, I wonder why. Season 2 trailer for Krypton, where they show us 3 villains, 3 Superman villains, or 3 villains that are associated with Superman. Right? Doomsday.
Yep.
Brainiac. And Lobo. So check that trailer. The trailers will be up. Check them out. I didn't get into Krypton. Jay did though.
Yeah, I did.
And
it took a while. Like you would think that, oh no, it's Krypton, the Superman focus. It took I'm not gonna lie, it took a while. And I got into Krypton more for the story than anything else. And except for when they finally revealed Brainiac in his full glory, yeah, I was super impressed. Whoever did that, yo,
yeah, it looks
hats
really
off
good
because it's like straight from the comics.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The TV shows are starting to really they're doing a really good job with the costumes. Yeah. You know, like the Gotham trailer, you see the Joker. I mean, you see
Penguin.
you see the Joker.
Yeah, you see the Joker.
You see Penguin, and you see
Catwoman, and the Riddler,
and the Riddler, and they all look, for the most part, like their character.
Dude, the Penguin was the most impressive to me.
Yeah, the way he did, because they had him gain weight, and the top hat, and the Riddler with the question marks. You know, the Joker is a bit of a different interpretation, but he still got the purple, the crazy, the white face. So I mean, doing really, really dope stuff. And we wanted to give a shout out to a couple of things. We want to give a shout out to the movie Breakthrough. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I heard it was good. I haven't watched it yet, but I think I'm gonna go watch it this week. It's sitting on a 64 in the tomato meter out of 50 reviews. 64%, which is a fresh.
That's dope.
Which is a fresh rating. I mean, now it hasn't been certified fresh because it doesn't. I think you have to hit 70 or 65 or something, or 67 to get the fresh rating. But most Christian movies, you know, right? They get the rotten scores, the rotten compiled scores. So we want to give them, you know, and it's got a pretty impressive cast.
Well, maybe
too.
It helps that the chick from This Is Us, or that was Us. What is it?
This Is Us.
This Is Us.
Well, she's in there. I mean, Josh Lucas, not a bad actor.
Oh, Josh Lucas is in it.
Mike Coulter.
Okay, I didn't know he was in it. Luke Cage.
Luke Cage is in there. The boy, the kid that plays the boy is the one from the the show on Netflix, One Day at a Time. That's the son from
little Spanish kid.
The little Spanish kid. So it's gotta Topher Grace plays the pastor.
Oh, nice.
So I mean,
there's life after Venom.
So you got there's life after the '70s show. So you got
no, but the '70s show was actually a success.
So you got
as Venom, not so much.
So you got so you got all these all these pretty good actors in this very Christian movie, right? So. And it got good ratings. So that's very, 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 very cool.
And another announcement. Is that the last announcement?
And then the last thing is
Legacy Nights next Monday.
Oh no, we'll make that the last announcement.
Oh, okay.
Avengers Endgame opens up on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
We cannot forget about Avengers Endgame opening up on Friday. It is the culmination of this Marvel universe this last 30 years, it feels like. I'll be honest with you, after Infinity War, I am super hyped.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Super hyped for this movie. I got my ticket for Friday at 10:30
already.
I was gonna wait till
Were you able to get your seats?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
I was gonna wait till Tuesday.
Okay.
Right. I was like, I'm gonna watch it Tuesday. Or I was like, I'll watch it Monday before the worship night. I'll show up late to the worship night. Where were you? Avengers! Ah.
You come sipping out of your Avengers cup.
Oh, hail Thanos! No, but a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, we're gonna try to go." And when he showed me what was open at that time at the Sugarloaf Mills up there, where I'm at, like it was almost empty. So I went in. I was like, "All right, if you guys are in, I'm in." And I went. I got my seat dead in the middle, second row from the back, like the second row from the back. So yeah. I'm in. I am in. I can't wait to go watch it again. I'm already waiting. I'm already excited to go watch it again. And I haven't watched it yet. So Avengers Endgame this Friday. Watch it. It should be pretty good.
And then
next Monday, Legacy Nights worship
at the Ice Kitchen.
At the Ice Kitchen with some guy
with Mitch Rumby. He'll be there. He's the worship leader at the Square Church of Smyrna.
Okay.
7:30, the doors open, coffee and fellowship and chill
and then worship.
And then worship at 8.
And hopefully no calls to 911 this week.
Yeah, hopefully not. And hopefully no confusion about being slayed in the spirit either.
Is he slayed in the spirit or did he just pass out? Hey, Jay, when you're slaying in the spirit, are you supposed to be foaming at the mouth and your eyes rolling back? But yeah, so
I was gonna say the Ed Homes are coming.
Oh, nice. The Ed Homes will be there, and other people. So
yeah, so no, I was just like for us. So yeah,
for us. Shh. Those of you that are listening, that wasn't for you. Ignore that part. You should, like the judge says in Law and Order, you will disregard.
Dun dun
dun dun. Whatever it is. All right, so that's it. So we're done. We're done with everything.
Yeah, so good night. Goodbye. Going home.
Goodbye. Peace. Yeah, Avengers Endgame. We'll see. Gotham. Yeah, Kryptonite.
Yeah, that's it. We're good.
And everything. All righty, Pastor Jay. What have you got for us today?
Right. So, I mean, you see it because, we share this stuff beforehand, but you saw that.
Right.
What I originally wanted to talk about today.
Actually, I didn't see it because I didn't see the actual title of it.
Right, you saw the picture. You saw
the
picture. That's right. Well, I wrote it in my profile Google Docs because I just, like I said, it was something that came to me when I was upset about something. So I just
started writing.
Like I designed it real quick and then I started writing. So, but we'll save that for next week or maybe another day or whatever, whatever it is. But I was sitting at my desk at work today, and it's the day after Easter. We started off the episode asking, how was your Easter? How was your Easter, right? But then, right, so I was sitting at my desk and I'm like, okay, it's the day after Easter. Now what?
Correct.
Right? What do we do now? And it's funny because on the drive over here, I was listening.
Eat all the leftover candy.
We eat all the candy, right? I was driving from from work, and I was listening to the radio, and the show that was on the radio were the people from the show that were discussing how they ended Lent, right? So, we had an episode of Lent where I admitted that I've never done Lent before. And
Correct.
I didn't really know much about it. I wanted to know the why, so that's why we did that episode. So, so a lot of people have been preparing for Easter, like 40 days in advance because of Lent, right?
Correct.
So the conversation was, so did you finally stop Lent? All right, so you gave up eating fried foods. So did you eat fried foods yesterday? Like, oh yeah, I ate a whole bunch of fried foods. Did you give up, all the things they gave up?
That dude's stomach was wrecked the next
I'm
day.
pretty sure, right? After 40 days not eating fried foods and all that. But anyway, the thing that caught my attention was, right, you do Lent supposedly is you sacrifice something in what was it in observance of Jesus' sacrifice.
Correct.
Right? But like this was just tradition to these people because it was just something to do. Right? It's just something to do. Oh yeah, this is when we do this thing called Lent, so I'm gonna do this thing called Lent.
Right.
Right? Because if it really meant something, then you talk about your experience in the sacrifice and not just, hey, I stopped eating this for 40 days, so that's all I ate yesterday. Right? So I'm glad I didn't celebrate Lent this year. I'm gonna try it next year.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like anything. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's like anything. We get so used to doing things.
Yeah, so we were talking on the episode,
right.
Like some things
so it's just become it's a tradition.
Yeah,
not that it's a bad thing.
We get numb to the tradition.
Right.
Right. So but anyway, so I'm sitting at my desk at work and I'm like, so what now? Right? Like, what now? We do Easter, right? Everybody's prepared. We buy, well, not we, because I don't do this anymore, but a lot of people buy clothes for Easter.
Right.
To wear their Sunday best for Easter.
Like, yeah.
A lot of women spend a lot of money on Easter bonnets, right? And
I'll take your word
and stuff like that. Dude, like the Easter hats are ridiculous, especially here in the South. Forget about it, right? But the thing with me is that we as a church, right? We as the church body, right? When I think about Easter, because I was having this discussion with Junior yesterday. We were having a few discussions. We always we'll have quick discussions and then
circle back.
And then not even. Then other stuff happens and then we'll have another quick discussion. Right? I mean, we've been doing this practically our whole lives, so it's all good. But we were talking about how, right, Easter, he was saying how he doesn't like celebrating or the fact that we celebrate Good Friday. Right? Because for him, Good Friday, if Good Friday is when Jesus was crucified, then why do we celebrate that? Right? He was like, he's not cool with that. So I'm like, it's not that we celebrate Good Friday like a party or a concert or whatever, right? We it's a solemn time of memory.
Right.
Right? It's like
you're remembering what Christ
it's like
did
a memoriam,
on that
right?
day.
What happened that day. So it's like a solemn memory. Like when my dad died, right? Every year when my dad died, I take some time off. I reflect. Sometimes if I can make it, I'll go to the cemetery.
Right.
Right. So it's just a solemn time of remembrance. Right. So it's not that we celebrate Good Friday, but we have to take the time to remember, to acknowledge what Jesus did.
Right.
Right. So
and celebrate doesn't. I think too. We tend to. It's like celebrate, so we think party. But
right.
Celebrate doesn't necessarily mean that it's a party. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you're yay.
It's not cool in the gang. Yes,
right.
I'm showing my age. It's not celebrate good time. Right. It's not that, but it is something that's commemorative. Right. So
right.
we commemorate that day by having a solemn time of remembrance. So so that was one pocket. And then Easter or the resurrection comes around, and we celebrate that because that is the greatest thing. Jesus said all these things, right? And then come the day of the resurrection, that's when he became the living God, right?
Right.
So, because he said, And that's the reason why, we can look forward to having an eternity with him.
Right.
Everything that he said that he would do, like the price paid for sins and all that, like all of that is encapsulated in this one historical fact that Jesus rose from the grave.
Done did.
Right? Right? It is now it's really finished. Right? So I wrote this list today, and I wrote everything out as I was having my thoughts today, and while I was at work. Good thing it was a slow day. Right, so we finished celebrating Easter. People gave in their Lenten fast. It's Lenten, right? Lenten fast, right? The non-church going heathens showed up to church, right? Because it's 2 days, Christmas and Easter. So yesterday was Easter, right? And kids found the candy-filled eggs, and some of us saw epic scale performances about the resurrection in church, right? It's funny, two things, like. Since we went to Nashville, and like I mentioned earlier, and Junior's church is basically new. It's a church plant, almost. They didn't really have like big thing, and they didn't have an egg hunt.
They had a PowerPoint on what eventually they're gonna do.
But Bean had his egg hunt at daycare on Friday, so he's good. And so there was no epic scale performances, right? But like now what? So what do we do now, right? As a church body, we have to ask ourselves: is Easter over? Right? So do we now, because we give in our fast, eat whatever we want without apology, right? Do the non-church going heathens once again go back to their non-church going ways, right? Our kids now have diabetes because they had all these candy.
They had them before.
Right? So what do we do now? And to answer this question, because I didn't want to answer it for myself, because for myself, I know. Right, but to answer this question for the podcast and for our listeners, right, I went to the Bible and I went to see what Jesus did after he resurrected.
After he came.
Right?
Right.
So I found 4 things. And I kept it at 4 things. Well, a lot of things, but I kept 4 overarching topics, right? And that's
proud of you.
Evangelism, encouragement, witness, and mission. Dude, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, there you go. Shout out Quirito and his Baptist ways, right? So the first one is evangelism. So when he resurrected, right, Mary, his mom, and Mary Magdalene, they went to the tomb because they would go, like the Bible says that they would go to like wash the body, and it's also Jewish custom, right, to change the sheets, right, so to speak,
right. So they go show up on the 3rd day to do that,
right, and he was gone.
Right,
and then he had the angels that appeared. It's like, why do you look for the living among the dead? Blah blah blah. But then when they leave, they see a guy outside, right? And I say they see a guy because he made it so they wouldn't recognize him, right? He kept himself hidden from them, right? So and like they don't recognize him. They're like, oh, our friend is missing. If you took him, please give him back so that we can like take care for the body and do like the ritual things that need to be done,
right?
As far as Jewish custom is concerned, right? And then he lifted the veil from their eyes. They were able to recognize him. And the first thing that he tells them is, hey, go. Hey, just like I told you I was going to come back to life. Here I am. I came back to life. 3 days later, I'm here again, right? Now go and tell everyone that I'm back, right? Let them know. Guess who's back? Back again. Jesus is back, right? So, and
tell
that's what
friends.
they do, right? I tell your friends, right? That's what they do. They go and they run back. And we see that, even though the Great Commission comes later, but we see that as the first case of like an evangelistic command, right? To go out and tell people about Jesus.
Right. Because we should be excited to tell people that Jesus is alive.
Exactly.
Like every day.
Every day, all the time, right? And we're going to get to that. You're getting ahead, right? But I also wanted to point out.
I'm too smart.
That I also wanted to point out that that these were women, right? Women were the first evangelists, right? And at that time, women were also.
Actually, I would say the shepherds were the first evangelists. When Jesus was first born, I don't know, the angels were probably the first evangelists.
The angels,
the
right?
angels were like,
but
yo!
But the women weren't really counted. right?
Right.
They weren't really counted. They were like second-class citizens.
Some guys say the good old days. Some guys, not these guys.
Not these guys. They were second-class citizens, right? But he withstood the cross. He died 3 days, rose again, and he still looked to the outcast, the rejected, right, to go and do his mission, just like the shepherds, as you said, from when he was born. Like, so, so that's dope. Right, so we see that first.
Yeah, it's a callback.
Right,
it's like the joke, like the Joker, and like the
penguin,
not the Joker,
the penguin.
No, not the penguin, the Riddler.
Was it the Riddler?
Yeah, the Riddler in Gotham, the Gotham trailer we talked about earlier, where he's gonna blow up the mayor, and the other character says, "Wait, did you already try to blow this guy up?" He's like, "It's a callback." So we're call, So it's funny, right? Because it's that picture from the very beginning. He appeared to the outcast.
Mm-hmm.
The outcasts were the first ones to hear that he was born.
Right.
What would be considered the outcast were the first ones to hear. Guess who's back?
But it's reflected in everything, right? Because the Samaritan
through
woman,
the whole story.
Instead of going to the Pharisees, right, he went to everyday laborers.
Right.
Right. So it's always seen as that, like the stinky people, like you went, right? So it's what Jesus does, right? So the second point is encouragement, right? So after all that, then he appears to two people walking to Emmaus, right? And he gets involved
What's up, guys?
in conversation with them. Hey, how you doing? Oh, where you walking to? Right? And he gets involved in conversation, and they start having a conversation with him about him.
Right?
Right, and everything that had taken place, and how he died, and how they were followers of his, and now he's dead, and we don't know what's going to happen.
What are they going to do? There's rumors that his body's not there.
Right,
like,
that he was
up?
stolen and all that, and then he starts encouraging them, and also he made it so that they wouldn't recognize him. Right. So then it's not just like, oh my God, right? So he's listening, and he's just having this intimate time with his believers, right? Which is something that we like through prayer and through scripture reading, we have intimate time with Jesus, and we can through prayer have this conversation with Jesus,
right? And it's funny, right? Because in the story, they recognize it's him when he breaks bread, right? So they had the whole conversation. Then when he sits down, he's like, "Well, let's eat," and he breaks the bread. That's when they. Yo, it's you, Jesus.
Oh God, it's Jesus. And
like, oh my Jesus, it's Jesus, right? And so, I think that, for us, I think that what happens is a way of looking at it, as we go through life and as we pray and we think and we contemplate, we do all these things about what's going on in our lives, maybe what's going on in the lives of others, and maybe even wondering, like, well, where is Jesus in this, right?
Yeah.
But it's when we break bread, for us, obviously it's not a literal breaking bread like what happened in this story, but it's when we, dive into the Word and we get to see Jesus, and then we begin to see Jesus in those circumstances that we've been worried about, and those circumstances that, we're thinking about, or we're, thinking about, or whatever it might be.
Right. So then the great thing is that while he was with them, walking on the road, and when he got to the house and all that, like he spent a lot of that time encouraging them, like, with his words. Like, didn't he say that he was going to be gone, but he was going to come back? Right? Didn't he prove himself by all the miracles and the signs and wonders? Right. And he encouraged them. He lifted them up, and then he broke the bread. They saw that it was Jesus, right? Yes, he's back. And we go back to what you said before, right, where we should always be excited and happy to share the news with everyone that Jesus is alive. I'm getting a throwback Carmen song in my head.
Right, and we should be excited when we break bread with him. I think too. I think that we sometimes tend to look at scripture reading, at prayer, at worship,
communion,
as a chore, right?
Yeah.
This is what I have to do. It's like studying, right? Like when we were in college or we were in high school, we're like, man, we need to get a B, right? Our mom's gonna whoop our tails. So we look at homework as a chore, right? It's just something that I have to do so that I can be a good student.
Right. So I can pass this class.
So I can pass this class. And so I think sometimes we tend to look at, that's how we tend to look at our faith, is that, well, I have to read the Bible and I have to pray so that I can be a good Christian, so I can be a good follower of Christ and get his blessings.
Instead of being excited for everything.
Instead of going, you know what, man, I'm going to spend time with God today. That's dope. Everything else is secondary.
Right. And with that said, right after that, he shows up to the 10 disciples that were waiting and hiding, right? And it's 10 disciples. Because one killed himself and one wasn't there, right? So, right. So he shows up to the 10 disciples that were waiting and hiding, and I love this because another one of those discussions that I was having with Junior yesterday, well, we were talking about how growing up in the church we grew up in, how we were taught that having a doubt or a question about Scripture, right, was sinful. Right. It was a sin. And not even sinful. It was a sin. Right? To doubt is to sin. Right? It was like real. Right. So it was like, oh my God, I'm struggling with doubts. You're going to hell. Dude, what? Right? So and to question something was also a sin because that came from doubt. Right? So when he shows up to the disciples, right, of course, I mean, they are seeing Jesus resurrected. And it's funny because it's a culmination of the 3 years that they were with him and not really know who he was and not really see him for who he was.
Not grasping
so,
everything.
Yeah. So he shows up and they don't believe that it's him. They think it's a ghost, right? And then he's like, yo, it's me. Touch me. Right, touch me. You can feel like the physical form. I'm not a ghost, right? This is not some kind of delusion or apparition, right? This is me, right? And so they go and they put their arms around him. Oh my God, it's Jesus! And it's like, yeah, it's me, right? It's me, right? It's me. I'm hungry, right? Can you feed a brother? Right? Can you
got some bagel and lox?
Right? Can you cook something? You got some herring? Right, so
matzo ball soup, something.
Right, like something. I haven't eaten anything since I came back from the dead.
Man, who knew coming back from the dead you'd be so hungry?
Right,
any brisket.
So
anything, guys.
It's awesome because they were able to witness, right, and that's what that is. They were able to witness the resurrected Jesus, right. Not only that, but they were also able to silence their doubts on whether or not he did what he said he was going to do, and then silence their doubts and their fears that was actually him, right, and not like some rumor or not some like scary thing,
right, or these hysterical women who came running back talking about he's alive, right, yeah, and then of course Thomas later,
because he wasn't there,
and then Thomas with his I need to touch. You can imagine, he shows up and they're like, "Yo, Jesus was here," and he's like,
"Stop lying,
man, come on, you know what? I need to touch his wounds."
He's got that Kevin Hart's face. Stop lying.
And then and then Jesus shows up,
but then that's the thing, right? Because you can't be a doubting Thomas. Yes,
you can.
Yes, you can, and you should, because when he showed up, right? Because he was like, "I'm not gonna believe that it's him unless he shows up to my face." And I could see the wounds, and I could put my like he says it. It's like nasty. I could put my finger in the wound in his side, right? And then Jesus is like, "What's up, Holmes? Here I am. Look."
Why Jesus sound like a cholo?
Because Jesus is Spanish, man. I've never seen a white or a black guy named Jesus. Boom, boom. Right. So then,
boo.
Right. So he shows up.
Right.
Right. And again, to prove, like it's funny, like even the Bible's like. And a few things says, test God, Paul tells us to test the scriptures, right? Jesus was like, yo, look, it's me. You don't believe that I'm alive. Well, here I am to prove to you that I'm real and I'm alive.
I am who I am. Well,
here are the wounds.
I mean, and hey, listen, one of my favorite stories, Gideon, right? Like Gideon, talk about he tested God, right?
He
was like, yo, like this has got to be this way. And it was, and it was okay. Well, it's got to be the opposite way now.
Right. Oh, okay. So now it's got to be another way.
And God didn't strike him down.
Right.
I think the thing about the questions, right? The doubting and the questions is, I think it's a sincere, or is it you just being a jerk?
Right. See, that's and that's the discussion that I was having with Junior. Right. If a sincere doubt to know more. And that's the same with everything, not just with Jesus, right? The same with everything in life, everything in learning, right? A doubt to learn more, to know more, to be proven, right? Or to to grasp more is something. Because if you doubt out of rejection, right? Because you're just going to reject whatever you're told, then that's not doubt, because you've already rejected the truth. You already rejected whatever it is that you're, that you're trying to learn.
Yeah, if you're like, well, if God is real, then have him strike me down now. You know, that's not.
Is that really what you want?
Is that? Yeah. Why not ask him to strike someone else down?
Right. So you get your encouragement. You get your evangelism, your encouragement, your witness, and then the last one is mission.
Right.
Right. Because he tells them, starting out from Jerusalem, you ought to be witnesses of these things. And look, I am sending forth upon you, which is promised by my Father. Wait here until you receive power from on high, and you will be guided by the Holy Spirit. Make sure you listen and receive it, right? And he goes on to give the Great Commission.
Right.
Right. And that's where we get our commandment, right? So, you know, the evangelism at the beginning where he tells Mary Magdalene to tell everybody, he finishes it at the end before he ascends to heaven, and he tells everybody, right? Now it's not just for one or 11 people. Now it's for everyone.
So everyone that was there is like, yo, Now go tell everyone about what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've done. You know, all these things.
You know, teach them what I have taught you, right? And baptize in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit throughout all Judea, Samaria, and throughout Jerusalem and all the world, right? So it's like it's a mission. And the thing is that they did not say, nah, man, right? Nah, son. Like, that's it. It's done. Yeah, and what I wanted to point out is that this all happened after the resurrection, right? We are day one after the celebration of the resurrection, which we know as Easter, right? And it's very easy for us to fall back in our routine.
Yeah. So this is, I forget. It's like a week after, or he was
appeared like 40 days
after.
Yeah. It was like 40 days. So he kept appearing, because remember, he appeared. Right. I just encapsulated a bit, because he appeared at the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah, he appeared over 500.
And he appeared at the Sea of Galilee. He ate with them again. Like, he started a fire while they were fishing. Right. And he ate with them again. He chilled with them again. It's like there was a lot of other things.
Right. There's a lot of things, because when he, you know, like the beautiful conversation he has with Peter when he forgives him and he lets Peter know, like, yo, like, you forgive him. So I just
encapsulated it for these 4 points.
But in that time. So really, if you think about it, so starting today for these next 40 days, we should be.
That's when the real fasting should start.
We should be fasting as to how and to who we are going to share his message with.
Right, because if anything, the true celebration starts now. And what I wanted to point out about this is that the resurrection of Jesus should not be just celebrated one Sunday a month, but it should actually be celebrated every day, because every day we should, as you said earlier, it's another callback, as you said earlier, you know, every day we should celebrate and be excited about sharing the fact that Jesus is alive.
Right.
Right. So, you know, it was easy in the beginning, right? It was easy in the beginning when all Jesus had to do for 3 years, he walked with the disciples and he taught them.
Right.
Right. And that's what we get by going to the gathering that we have that is known as church services,
right?
or whatever.
Small groups, right? All those things, right?
Right. Worship nights.
Worship.
Right. Now, many now think that we celebrate the resurrection and it's done, right? We have Easter, yay, and it's done. But Easter Sunday, the celebration of the resurrection, should be seen as the engine of our faith that drives us and pushes us to evangelize, to encourage, to witness, and to be on mission, right? We should live the after of the resurrection every day. If the resurrection were the end, right, then Jesus would have left the tomb and be like, all right, I'm out.
Right.
Right? And not spend the 40 days appearing to
Right.
over 500 people, but rather just, all right.
Yeah, he might have showed up 3 days. He shows up for a couple of days to the disciples. He's like, told y'all
Not even
suck.
just one day. Right?
Told y'all suckers I'd be back.
Because it was just one. We do Easter Sunday and that's it. So he comes back, right? He comes back and then just spends one day
What's up, dogs?
with whoever's there, with Mary Magdalene and Mary, right? And then he's out.
Right.
Because that's it. All right, look, I'm back. Yay, I'm back. Give me something to eat. All right, I'm out. And he left, right? But no, he did all these things. He appeared to all these people, right? And he spent 40 days appearing to all these and encouraging and proving himself and showing that he was real and showing and giving them, I already said encouraging, but giving them what they needed so that they could talk to others and be with others and then promise us the Holy Spirit, right? And then after that, he ascended, right? He did all these things so that all would know, right? So all of this and this whole teaching, the now what is this, that we should all stay celebrating his resurrection every day until he returns, right? And that's through evangelization, encouragement, witness, and being on mission.
Right. And so to help you think of it this way, if every Sunday, the reason we meet on Sundays is because that's when Jesus rose.
Right.
So every Sunday is a reminder. Every Sunday is a reminder. It's like when they used to do the altars where something great happened, when God did something great in Israel, and they would build an altar on that spot as a commemoration to what God did. So every Sunday is that commemoration for us of what God did, which is Jesus dying, resurrecting, and defeating death. And so if the idea of like every day, thinking about it as an everyday thing, think about it as an every Sunday thing. It's like start there, right? Yo, why do I go to church on Sunday? Because I'm celebrating the fact. We're celebrating the fact that Jesus rose from the grave, defeated death, like that Carmen song, The Champion.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I was saying. I'm getting a throwback to a Carmen song.
Right? So that's it. So start with that. Start with Sunday, and then start with, you know what? Let me be excited to meet with Jesus throughout my week, so that on Sunday I can be like, yo, Jesus, celebrating the fact that you defeated death.
And be excited about sharing, letting people know, hey, Jesus is alive.
Jesus did his thing.
Like, Jesus is alive.
He did his thizzle.
Like, say what you want about anything, right?
Right.
But you can't argue the fact that Jesus is alive, and that should excite you.
Yes.
Right? And that should drive you to tell everyone so they can also be excited that Jesus is alive, because the fact that Jesus is alive proves and it gives us the comfort and the knowledge that we have hope for a future.
Right. And because Jesus is alive, your life has changed. Your life should be becoming alive, truly alive.
Yep.
Right. And that doesn't happen if he doesn't resurrect. So that's it. That's all I got. You got any last nail on the coffin? No?
That's it. Save me some robin eggs. Those are my favorite.
All right. So, hey, listen, guys, thanks for joining us. We're so excited. Hopefully next week we'll see you at the worship night. That'll be on the webpage and all through social media. So, as always, my name is Joaquin.
And I'm still Jay.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening. Remember to go to the overflowpodcast.com to subscribe to the podcast on all streaming platforms and catch up on all the links of the week. And don't forget to follow our playlist on Spotify.